Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. What a morning of events. We have lots to discuss today. We saw we had qualifications in the men's 400-meter hurdles. Women's 400 meters got off. Discus men. The pole vault was very interesting for women. A bunch of them are actually getting through. They'll have a large contingent in the final. A couple of repechage rounds there for some events for athletes who didn't get automatic spots yesterday. But before we dive into the morning's result, it is only fitting to mention an all-time great, Shaunae Miller-Uibo, the two-time defending Olympic champion over the 400 meters. She stepped out on the track, which we all were excited to see, but unfortunately, she was unable to complete the race, pulling up somewhere there at the top of the bend, and she just didn't get an opportunity to defend her title. A lot of people would have thought a few years back that, given Shaunae's age and stature, she would be on course to become a three-time champion, but it's not to be. It hasn't been a great season for Shaunae. At one point, we weren't even sure she would have made it to this Olympic Games. She's only here largely because of her world ranking. Last year, obviously, she gave birth, which is a fantastic moment for her and her family. And she was only able to compete because she didn't get the qualifying standard, but got here on world rankings. It's very unfortunate that we won't get to see her, but Shaunae joins the list of a bunch of great athletes who unfortunately are unable to compete at the Olympics or had to pull out last minute because of injury. We wish her the very best. We hope that she can recover and get back to full strength and fitness. And we hope to see her next year in Tokyo. Morning, everyone. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Obviously, we're here to just recap some of the morning session. Hopefully, many of you got a chance to see it. Maybe you haven't. Some of you may have gone to work already. But I just wanted to go through a couple of things. I'll be on the live as long as I can, go through some of the stuff that I saw and the things that I think were interesting to watch. And then, yeah, I'll be back later on to do evening session work. And we'll see what happens after that. But I want to start with the men's 400-meter hurdles. That was a good race this morning. There are 5 heats of the men's 400 meters. 3 of them automatically qualify for the next round. And then the rest would go into the repechage round as long as you weren't disqualified or didn't finish. And we saw an athlete didn't finish, and we can talk about that. I mean, first heat was up, featured one of the favorites, probably the favorite for the gold medal in Rai Benjamin. Clearly, he's part of the big 3 with Alison Dos Santos and Karsten Warholm. All 3 medalists from last Olympics are here. And it was a good race. Nothing much to talk about. Rai looked like he didn't come much out of first or second gear. Thought Jahil Hyde from Jamaica ran a really good leg, as strong run as well, making sure he got one of those automatic qualifying spots. And Kyron McMaster, also one of those talented individuals. Happy to see him last year moving up, but making it through to the next round. So those 3 guys got in automatically. Bergström and the rest, they have to come back again. And it's not easy, especially to get yourself into a semifinal spot by running multiple races here. As we know, this is a new feat for the Olympics, something that IOC push more so than World Athletics, it seems. And yeah, so those 2 automatically qualified. Next up, we saw the world record holder, the big man himself, Warholm. looking really really good as well. Not much there to even think through. Running 47.57. I think he came around really strong and took it easy on the home stretch. Docus from France, the doing a PB to ensuring that he qualified. And a lot more French athletes would have been getting some form of a support there. And it's good to see Samba back, and Samba there running 48.35, ensuring that he qualifies. I guess the surprise of that race for me was the fact that Trevor Bassett didn't automatically qualify, so he has to come back. I think in his interview he was saying, he just didn't, wasn't feeling that the best, didn't execute the way he wanted to, but he gets an opportunity to come back. We didn't really see much casualties, I would say, from the first round of the 400-meter hurdles. Second, we also saw Maggi. Expected that. CJ Allen, Dos Santos. Dos Santos finishing in third, but he was quite comfortable all the way. I think he was leading all the way to the last few moments there. And the rest just came in and got the spot. But nothing from the big three that would give you any cause for concern. Pretty much morning jogs for them, if you ask me. If I'm being honest, you can't really judge anything getting the legs ready. And yeah, heat number 4 was interesting. Rashawn Clark, the world junior champion, the world junior record holder, sorry, out of Jamaica, looked really impressive last year. He also looked good today. Ran a little bit harder than I thought he would have. He could have eased off a little bit, but looked comfortable. Nathaniel there, Ezekiel Nathaniel from Nigeria, also looking good, and Hapio from France also getting in. And then they bunched in a bunch of other guys with some cues because of the times. And so we've seen this as well. If you've run some really spectacular times, they don't allow you, they just give you some small cues and you don't get to go in the repechage round. So they obviously, the small cues are the 3 fastest guys here. They got through from that heat, and then the rest, all advanced as long as you didn't fall. And Heat 5 also featured another Jamaican who many would say is a standout, and 48.21 from Malik James King. He looked good. He also ran harder than he probably needed to, but his first Olympic Games, I suspect he could have took the foot off the gas a little bit more, but he got through comfortable, very comfortable. Lima and Chalmers from Great Britain also grabbing the automatic spot. So I think nothing to talk about, to be honest with you, except for maybe Trevor Bassett not making it through. Thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to give me a like. And yeah, it was a smooth sailing there for the men in the 400-meter hurdles. Nothing there except for Trevor Bassett, you would say, to me, would be a bit of a surprise. Also, maybe a quick note, if with Abakar from Qatar, he crashed into the hurdle. He went down. It's not clear to me if he was injured. I haven't seen any updates since it happened, but when he went down, it looked like he could have got up again and hurdled through, because if he had completed the race, he would have actually gotten an opportunity to run again, which it begs the question whether or not, if he was hurt, then fine. If he thought he was just out of it and it was the end of his Olympic Games, then that means he may have either forgotten or not realized that everyone goes through as long as you complete the race. So devastating for the guy from Qatar, but hopefully he'll be fine. Yeah. I don't know if you guys found anything interesting from the morning session that you like from the men's 400-meter hurdles there, but that's pretty much straight through stuff. I mean, men's discus too for me was, pretty interesting, and I can put that up as well. A lot of small cues going through, and only the likes of Alekna Denny and the Austrian guy getting, and also the German guy getting automatic qualification there. Jamaica has a strong standing here too, likes of Michael Stone and Mullings also going through. Christian Che too, Daniel Stahl, big time throwers there. And so yeah, we lost a few guys that, particularly the guy from the United States, he didn't do well. And yeah, Alekna's brother, but I didn't anticipate him doing much there. But I should be a great discus final there. Alekna, world record holder this year, comes from a long line of big time discus throwers. His dad is an all time great. It's going to be interesting. I like Denny, obviously. He's been around. You can never count out Che. He can come up with something big time. And obviously, Daniel Stahl. Everybody starts afresh come the final, but it's a good morning run out there for most of those guys, to be honest with you. I want to talk a little bit about the pole vault before we get into the 400 meters. I know, just a quick recap for everybody on the live. The pole vault was really interesting, really, really interesting in the pole vault. And I suspect the biggest casualty of the pole vault, because I had Molly Caudry as a medalist here, is the fact that Molly Caudry from Great Britain did not get a mark, failed at all her attempts there, which is sad. And Holly Bradshaw also not making it through, only managing to clear 4 meters 20. The Caudry thing is really interesting. There are people who argue about whether the there are people who argue about whether, when you get a warm up before you get into these big qualifying standards, and then you're not jumping early, you decide to pass on a couple rounds, then you don't get an opportunity to warm up again. You go cold, and then you have to go over it. I actually don't know what happened to Molly. I think I haven't seen the reports yet, but this is not cool. It's not good to see. This is, and yeah, it's one of the big favorites, I think, for a medal that's gone. But the rest have gone through, and not only that, a lot of women not getting the automatic qualifying standards. There's only small queues going through, and because of that, if you look at this long list, it looks like it's going to be a 20-woman final, I believe, for the women's pole vault. I'm not quite sure how they're going to work that out. That's a lot of people qualifying for an event that it's only one pole vault in the Stade de France. It's not like you could do people jumping in a triple jump on one side and or long jump. So this is going to take a while. And it could also end up with people getting hurt. I actually think this is a really interesting situation they find themselves in. But important people went through: Nina Kennedy for sure, Katie Moon. So it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some good competition there. Bruni from Italy also clearing 455 and so on. So early stages in the women's pole vault. And it's something I've been noticing. I don't know if you guys have been seeing this in the last few morning sessions, that some of the field events, they don't go off as smoothly as you want. We saw the high jump that morning where a lot of women weren't getting good jumps. The long jump for men looked really terrible in this start there. I don't know if it's a morning thing. Who knows? It's just not what I would anticipate. But this is our final there. It's a very long final for the women's pole vault. That's what we're working with. A lot of women going through. This is going to be a logistical nightmare, I imagine. Yeah, it's going to be, unless they're going to come out in groups. I actually don't know what they're going to do. I have to go check up on this, but this doesn't seem clear, a good solution to have this many women trying to attempt the final of the Olympics. All right. So yeah. Cool. I also want to go through a few more things. I think repechage runs were interesting in the 200 meters, but let's talk about the 400 meters. And again, we touch a little bit on Shaunae Miller-Uibo. It was tough that she didn't get a chance to go through on this. It's I feel bad for Shaunae. She's been a really great servant to the sport of track and field, one of the icons of the sport, if we're being honest. And yeah, not making it through is tough, but we have to talk about people who made it through. And heat number one, we saw NASA looked really smooth. I've been saying it all season. I did eventually not include NASA in my potential medalist predictions, but I remember a couple weeks ago she'd been consistently lowering her times, and I was saying, are we seeing the old NASA again? Is she getting back to her best? And she's been steadily improving. I mean, she looks really good over the first 300s of all the 400 meters I've seen of her this season. And I was looking at her, obviously has the experience. She has a medal. She's also a former world champion. We know she's been out of the sport for a bit uh, after serving a suspension for whereabouts violation. She's back, got into the first round, ran really well, going sub 50 there, ahead of Stacey and Williams, who I thought was really comfortable too. Had to work a little bit there, but making sure picking up the automatic qualification along with the Romanian athlete Mikolos. So uh, it's yeah, it was nothing there. The big casualty I thought there was Kendall Ellis. I didn't think she ran really well. She was out of it, faded away, and now she has to come back and try again to get into the semifinal. Will it work? Don't know. Yeah. Heat number two also saw the world leader, one of the favorites for the gold medal, Nikisha Price, long collegiate season, but I thought she answered any questions I had about her when she popped back up and regained the world lead recently. You never know what you'll get, especially when you're under 400 meters and you have a long season. But Nikisha looks really, really good. And yeah, thanks for joining, guys. What's up, Del? Del is saying, good morning, all. Top three, Price, Pauline, and NASA. That's where you are from just the opening round. We'll get into that some more. But yeah, Price looked really good. I thought she was comfortable. Nielsen there also, and Jager getting into the automatic spots there. But yeah, there's nothing that Nikisha did that looked. I, let me put it this way: I thought she ran a professional run. She was cruising. She didn't expend a lot of energy, and she ran the race you would want. You have to work a little bit hard in the first part, but then once she was in full control, which was pretty much the entire race, it was a comfortable sailing afterwards. Nothing there. Prior didn't break much of a sweat, which is what you want. You want to maximize energy conservation during the rounds because you're gonna need it later on because it's not gonna be straightforward. Definitely not straightforward. Amber Anning too, also one of the Price's collegiate teammate there from Arkansas. The big four there from Arkansas finishing across the line at the NCAA championships. If you guys remember, fabulous 4x4 team. Amber Anning too, also looking good at this championships, running really well in the mix 4x4 there for Great Britain too. She was comfortable. This race was a bit hard, run a bit faster than the previous one. Lika Klava too was running really good there in the inside, if I remember. And yeah, making sure, and the Mexican athlete also coming in at the end to ensure that she gets a qualifying spot into the semifinal. Everybody else comes back the next day, obviously, to get a chance again. But Annin looked good too. I think she could. I don't know if Amber is a threat for the medals, but you can't. But I think she should. If she runs really well, she should get in the final. And you never know what can happen. Not in my medal thinking right now, but as I've been saying this whole time, and I think that the women's 400 meters, you could end up seeing 6 women going sub 49, or very low 49 and potentially going sub 49. It's just like it's a possibility depending on the conditions, obviously, and what happens. Heat 4. We saw Kazmarek. We know she's, for me, one of the contenders for a medal. She's interesting there too. Uh, comfortable, nothing to even complain about. Gomez was there, and I thought Sadia Williams from Barbados, rather, the the Bayesian athlete there comfortably. You could see at the end her arms weren't pumping. She knew she was in a comfortable position and qualifying to the next round. Tough competitor there in Williams, experienced enough, you know, prepared the last few years by Stephen Francis, obviously. Medalist, to be honest with you, been onto the podium, so she knows how to run the big runs. I don't know where she might be this year, but you could never count out Williams from Barbados, and she'll be a standard bearer for them. And this obviously was the heat in which Miller-Uibo was in and could not complete, and it's interesting there, yeah. So I don't know what happens there. She did complete it, but this is, she pulled up, she just basically walked it. So I don't really know. I didn't realize that Shaunae actually completed the race. Now that I'm seeing this, I did see when she pulled up, and I was like, "Oh, this is over here." And but they're listing her as coming in. So she finished in like 2 minutes and change. This is news to me. I should have seen this, but when I watched it, I didn't actually see this. To be honest with you, I just saw when she pulled up, and then we were just focusing on who else advanced. Heat number 5, we got to see who I think starts as the favorite. Some people might disagree here. I don't know if she will actually win, but Paulina for me, fantastic. 49-42, a bit faster than I thought she would have run. We got to see Butler too, who ran a decent run. And I was interested. I thought initially I had Maudsley that would qualify automatically, but the Austrian athlete did better and pipped her there. And so Maudsley have to come back again and run in the repechage round, which is an extra step there, which is not what you really want. But Paulina is ready. Yeah. Dell is saying, based on the times and consistency, let me pull you over onto the screen. The top 3 ladies with PBs under 48.5 are consistent. Kazmarek and Adelike will run PBs but wouldn't be fast enough. You think so? We'll talk about that. I mean, Kazmarek could fade. I mean, I don't know how far Kazmarek can go. I think she's interesting. I think Rashidat is the one that Rashidat for me is the one that we should really be worried about. I've been saying it all season. I think Coach Flo is setting something up special here for Rashidat. Very special athlete. In the same situation like a Julian Alfred. This is a fresh season for her. Ability-wise, from 100 meters all the way up. I wouldn't be shocked if Rashidat gets on the podium, to be honest with you. I think she could potentially do some serious damage there in Paris. She's going to go sub 49 for sure. She's in that kind of shape, in my estimation. So we'll definitely get to see. We'll definitely get to see. Let me just complete the rest of these heats here, and the 6th and final heat featured Adelike, as we just mentioned. She won that ahead of Alexis Holmes, who is also expected to do well here, and Janelle Bronfilm from Jamaica, who ran some good legs for Jamaica there in the mixed 4x4. So this is what our 3rd race of the championship so far, getting one of the Qs. Had to work a bit there, but she ensured that she got one of those automatic qualifying spot. If you're Bromfield, you definitely didn't want to miss out on an automatic spot because your legs are already in motion there at these Olympics after the relays and the mixed relays. So, finishing ahead of Kotsie from South Africa. And so those are the women that automatically advance to the semifinal. The rest will come back, get a chance, as long as you weren't disqualified. Caicedo was. Caicedo automatically, she basically false started on purpose, in my estimation, because she also had to come back and run the repechage round of the women's 200 meters. And so I think she was putting her all, or she was citing efforts towards running that 200 meters. So she didn't even wait properly for the gun. She just went out, got DQ'd, and just walked off. And to run about 30 or so minutes later in the women's 200 meters. So yeah, that is the big stuff there we got from the 400 meters. I'm excited for what we'll see later, to be honest with you. Uh, I can quickly touch on the repechage round of the women's. I won't go through summary by summary, but these are the women who came back and qualified for the 200-meter semifinals. So I want to point out that Deja Hadji was good to see her qualify there. Kone from Ivory Coast looked good. The Canadian also looked good. Madago, and also Tori Lewis. I like what I saw from her. We all saw Tori Lewis earlier this year on the Diamond League circuit. So, yeah, those are the women that will qualify into the semifinals of the women's 200 meters. Yeah, and so that basically was the morning session, if you ask me. No, outside of the pole vault casualties, I would say, and some of the athletes that you anticipated that would automatically qualify for the next round. Nothing to nothing nothing out of the ordinary happened in my estimation. I guess what we're all looking for is what we'll see later on. Tonight we'll get some really interesting stuff. Pole vault final tonight. I think it's all eyes on Mondo Duplantis as well. We'll get, we'll see. We'll also see if Sam Kedrick can do something. Obina, obviously from the Philippines as well. I like him a lot. I think he could do something. But all eyes on Duplantis this evening. He probably will just, depending on where these guys go. And this is the thing for the 200 meters, not the 200, the pole vault in general. You need guys to be consistently going over 6 meters and a little bit more, maybe 6:05 or so, to make Mondo even think twice. Because he's just probably, if he continues to win this at like 6 meters or a little bit above 6 meters, then it's not competitive. But it's not Mondo's fault. He's an all-time great. He's the greatest we've ever seen. And sometimes when you're just that far away, it takes some time before others come in. We'll get to see opening round as well for men's steeplechase. That should be exciting. 200 meters. So the men from last night are back, and they have to get on the way right away. All the guys who were in the final clearly have to run out again, including Noah Lyles, the Olympic champion, Kung Fu Kenny, the likes of Aletsile Tugbogo. We'll also get to see Wade Van Niekerk. As many of you know, we didn't see Van Niekerk over 400 meters. He decided not to run the 4 and just to run the 200 meters. That's interesting. I want to see what kind of shape Wade is in. Wade, we thought Wade would have a much better career, but obviously injuries curtail it, and that's the tough thing about the sport. Fambule as well is in Wade's heat, so we'll get a chance to see him. And so it's easy qualifying again in the 200 meters later on, and we'll do a watch along for that. So I'll be back later on. First through with advance. Yeah, a number of stuff we'll get to see all these guys, and yeah, so that's on top for later on. 200 meters. For men, we'll get the heats of that. It's pretty early in the session, right after the steeplechase. Discus throw final tonight as well for women. Only women's finals tonight, except for the pole vault final, and we'll get to see 5,000 meter final. That's going to be cracker, big time race. It's probably going to be the best race of the night. 800 meter final close out the night as well. Keely Hutchinson, Miramore, Segadisho, Maloney, the big standout there from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm just now learning a bit more about her story. I saw some things about her at one point being homeless and all of that stuff, and it's like you want to cheer for her even more. So if you don't have a favorite in the 800 meter final, Maloney is the one. Yeah. To see. Yes, it's going to be really interesting. What's up, David? How you doing? Triple jump is not on today, right? Isn't it tomorrow? Is it today? No. Today the finals are only 800 meters, 5,200 discus steeplechase. In the morning, Morning session only had discus pole vault. That's not today though. Yeah. So that's where we are for day number 5. I don't. Hopefully you guys enjoy the morning session. I'm looking forward to that. The evening session today. We'll have women's discus final. That should be good. And yeah, thank you. No problem. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to come on, make sure I did an update. I think no casualties from women's 400 meters. All of the big guns are there. Kendall Ellis, I would say, I anticipated her going through automatically. It didn't happen. So, but there's a reprieve there. The biggest casualty, obviously, we saw the great Shaunae Miller-Uibo pull up, but she completed the race, which I didn't realize. No, I'm being honest with you, when I was watching it live this morning. So she walked it in like 2 minutes and change. I don't know if that means she's gonna try again, but I have no idea. It does. It wouldn't look. It doesn't look that way to me, and I haven't seen any reports yet. I like what I saw from Price. I thought Price was extremely comfortable. Adelike, Paulino, Kazmarek, all these women looking good, even Lika Klava. So all the people who you expect there, even Alexis Holmes, a lot of people just getting into their running really good. 400 meters, the big three all look good. I would also say Malik James King looked really good. The same for Rashawn Clark. So nothing that I think is out of the ordinary there. So yeah, this was a quick morning live, guys. I'm going to jump off if we don't have anything else to talk about, but I just wanted to come and give my thoughts on this. I look forward to seeing you guys a little bit later on, and hopefully you will enjoy the evening session. I know people probably got to go to work and all these different things, so we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.